We're back with some crazy Disney movie connections that will totally surprise you. Watch until the end to find out which film turned your favorite Disney characters into animals.
So you just open the door and tell us what you know, and we will tell you what we know.
Hans in Big Hero 6. Prince Hans of the Southern Isle is the cute guy with shady intentions who swept Princess Anna off of her feet in Disney's Frozen. He's the youngest of 13 children with very little claim to the throne.
So you have how many brothers?
12 older brothers.
That is unless he tricks a young, naive princess who doesn't have much experience with the outside world into marrying him. Hans made Anna believe that he cared about her. Of course, he was just trying to fool her so he could take the throne. Hans never had any intention of being the noble prince she had hoped for. In fact, Hans was a total jerk.
Oh, Anna. If only there was someone out there who loved you.
It only makes sense that he would be wanted for his crimes, even if it is across different times in other Disney movies. That's why we're not surprised at all to find Hans on the wanted billboard at the police station in Disney's Big Hero 6. That's right, folks. If you look closely at the billboard behind the police officer in this scene of Big Hero 6, you'll see a familiar face. We're pretty sure that's a wanted poster of Prince Hans. Alright, what did he do this time? This little Easter egg is proof that a bad guy can escape his evil deeds, even in other Disney movies. Midnight Bark. Disney has made more than one movie about cute, lovable animals. In particular, Disney seems to be downright in love with characters of the canine persuasion. For instance, Lady and the Tramp made us fall in love with the stray dog from the wrong side of the spaghetti restaurant. And in 101 Dalmatians, we fell in love with a whole pack of the most precious spotted puppies ever. We all sighed when Lady and the Tramp shared their iconic spaghetti dinner under the moonlight behind the romantic Italian restaurant. And we all breathed a big sigh of relief when Cruella de Vil did not succeed in making her soft black and white Dalmatian puppy coat. Just saying, Cruella de Vil is one of the scariest Disney villains out there. She is one terrifying lady. Anyway, given Disney's love for planting little nods to other classic Disney films or Easter eggs in each film, it only makes sense that these two dog films would come together. And that's exactly what happened. In the Midnight Bark scene of 101 Dalmatians, you can see Lady in the foreground of the scene. And if you look to the right, you'll see the Tramp. The Little Mermaid. The Disney princesses certainly have a lot in common. They're usually wronged by some powerful evil trickster and imprisoned against their will, but thankfully they always have some cute animal sidekicks to help them out. Take Cinderella for instance. Cinderella was dealt a really bad hand. She was forced to work as practically a slave for her evil stepmother and stepsisters after she lost her father. And after she tasted a little bit of freedom at the ball where she dances with the prince, she got locked in a room by her wicked stepmother. She almost missed the chance to try on the glass slipper that would change her destiny forever. Ariel from The Little Mermaid also got duped by an evildoer, so it only makes sense that Disney would put a Cinderella Easter egg in The Little Mermaid. If you watch closely, you'll see that the King and the Grand Duke from Cinderella are in attendance at the wedding of Prince Eric and Vanessa. Or should we say Ursula in disguise? Either Disney got tired of making new background characters and decided to recycle a few they had already made, or they put these two characters in as a wink to fans.
You're not free to make your own choices.
Sometimes you feel so
You're just
trapped.
Aladdin. It seems you can't watch a Disney film without stumbling upon a character from another Disney classic. There are some movies that are literally bursting with Easter eggs and Disney references. Disney's Aladdin is one of those films. Due to Robin Williams' amazing talents as the role of Genie, the film is loaded with references, and not all of them are related to Disney classics. But still, a handful were thrown in. If you're not watching carefully, you'll miss them. For instance, there's a scene in which the Sultan is stacking a bunch of trinkets, but Jafar bursts into the room and causes the whole toy tower to fall. But if you look at the toys closely, you'll see a familiar face in there. That's right. Beast from Disney's Beauty and the Beast is depicted as a figurine among the rest of the toys. And that's not the only reference to other Disney movies in Aladdin. When Aladdin tells Genie that he plans to use one of his wishes to set him free, Genie thinks he's lying.
I'll do it. I'll set you free.
Yeah, right.
We're sure Genie meant no disrespect to Pinocchio, but we all know what it means when his nose grows bigger. Belle in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. There are two classic Disney films that take place in France. The first is The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's a tale of a deformed bell ringer with dreams of being out among the people of the city of France. The second film is about a girl who loves to read and finds herself to be pretty bored with the villagers in her town. She wanders around with her nose in a book. There's a part in The Hunchback of Notre Dame where Quasimodo is singing about being out there among the other people of the town. This sweet, optimistic character just wants to walk along the river like an ordinary person. It seems that Belle and Quasimodo want opposite things. Belle wants to leave her provincial life, and all Quasimodo wants is to walk among the people. He's lonely up in his tower. Both Belle and Quasimodo want more from their lives. So of course Disney connected these two characters in the most subtle of ways. In The Hunchback of Notre Dame, when Quasimodo is singing his heartfelt song, Out There, you can see Belle walking among the villagers that Quasi is singing about. Hercules and the Lion King. Disney's The Lion King is a story about power, integrity, and a silly meerkat who loves to do the hula. This is a story about royalty, nobility, and a usurper who thinks he should be the one to become the king of Pride Rock. Simba had some pretty big footsteps in which to follow when he had to take his dad's role as king. He was only a child when his father was taken from him. Little did Simba know that his uncle Scar was responsible for the stampede that ended Mufasa's life, and that Scar had planned to end Simba's life as well. Thankfully, Simba was eventually able to take his place as the rightful king of Pride Rock. In Disney's Hercules, a young godlike boy with extreme strength grows up feeling like he doesn't really belong. Of course, that's because he's the son of Zeus, but he must prove himself as a hero before he can return to his godlike status. There's a scene where Hercules is posing for a vase maker while holding up a sword and wearing an animal pelt. For Lion King fans, it's hard to miss the obvious reference to one of its iconic characters in this scene. Hercules is actually posing while wearing the skin of Scar from The Lion King. Zazu did say that Scar would make a handsome throw rug. Tarzan. Tarzan is a story about a boy who lost his parents while in the jungle. He was just a defenseless baby when a bunch of jungle gorillas took it upon themselves to care for him. He learned how to behave like the gorillas who raised him. Of course, his best friends were also gorillas, and let's just say they didn't have any human manners of their own. In the movie, Tarzan and his pals come across a camp that has been set up in the jungle. Tarzan's most sassy friend, Turk, discovers an interesting find, all the way out in the jungle. It's a tea set that you just might recognize. Remember Mrs. Potts and Chip from Beauty and the Beast? Well, they make an appearance in this camp scene. Turk actually uses Mrs. Potts and Chip during that scene. Can you imagine what would have happened if Mrs. Potts and Chip had started singing Be Our Guest to Turk, Tarzan, and his gorilla pals? They probably would have freaked out. Mrs. Potts might not have made it through a gorilla rampage brought on by mysterious talking teapots and cups. It could have changed everything if they accidentally broke Mrs. Potts while rummaging through the campsite.
What kind of primitive beasts are responsible for this mess?
Mulan and Lilo and Stitch. Lilo is a charismatic girl who likes to challenge the status quo. She befriends mischievous little creatures who help her embrace her wild spirit. Lilo doesn't seem to fit in with her peers. She doesn't follow the conventional path. That seems awfully familiar. Where have we seen that before? Oh, right. Mulan was a girl who didn't follow the normal rules of being a young girl. She was a rebel, she was a fighter, and she also had some strange creatures helping her along the way. Mulan had a troublemaker guardian who almost seemed to make things worse rather than help her achieve her goals. Likewise, Lilo and Stitch got into plenty of trouble together. That's why it's no surprise that you would see a reference to Mulan in Lilo and Stitch. If you want to see this connection to Mulan, look closely at the wall in Lilo's room. There you'll see a poster of Mulan and her horse. It only makes sense that Lilo would be inspired by a brave rule breaker such as Mulan. Both of these young ladies have a knack for causing trouble, but that's what makes them so unique and brave.
Will Andy pick me?
Don't count on it!
Toy Story in Finding Nemo. Disney and Pixar's iconic Under the Sea tale, Finding Nemo, didn't only take place under the sea. In fact, a very important part of the story took place in the dentist's office. When Nemo is captured, he's brought to a fish tank in a dentist's office. It's in that tank that Nemo forms important friendships with fish he never would have known otherwise. Knowing how much Disney creators love to put Easter eggs in their films, it seems only natural that we would find one in Finding Nemo. But to our surprise, we found more than one. The first one is when Darla visits the dentist's office. You can see a view of the waiting room, and if you look closely, you'll see a familiar toy on the ground. That toy would be the famous Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story. But that's not all. In that same waiting room, a little boy is reading a Mr. Incredible comic book. And if you look through the plastic bag during the attempted fish escape scene, you'll see the Pizza Planet truck from Toy Story. That Pizza Planet truck has been in a ton of Disney movies. Don't believe us? Check it out for yourself and count how many times you can find the truck in other Disney/Pixar movies. Zootopia. Zootopia is a film about animals living together peacefully in a sort of ideal utopia. Predators and prey live peacefully for the most part. There's a particularly clever nod to many other Disney films in Zootopia that had Disney fans giggling.
It's Weaselton, Duke Weaselton, and I ain't talking rabbit, and ain't nothing you can do to make me.
It's a part where Duke Weaselton is selling bootleg copies of popular movies. If you look at his collection, they all have an animal slant on popular Disney films. He's got everything from Pig Hero 6 to Wrangled to Wreck-It Rhino. These are clear references to Big Hero 6, Tangled, and of course, Wreck-It Ralph. This was a clever little nod to the Disney films that came before Zootopia. Disney clearly doesn't shy away from references and Easter eggs in its films. It makes for an exciting quest to find all the connections between the movies. Many fans have worked tirelessly to find all of these connections. Have you found some Disney movie connections worth noting? If so, don't be shy. Tell us in the comments below. Thanks for watching The Things. If you love Disney movies as much as we do, be sure to subscribe to our channel for the latest Disney news. And don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. See you next time!